Hello, everyone, and welcome to another live webinar brought to you by India Sourcing Trip. Yay!
Yay!
Yay! Today I have with me the lovely Chris Rawlings from Sophie Society. Hi, Chris.
Hey
How are
guys.
you?
I'm good. How are you, Megla?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining us over here today.
Heck yeah,
We've known each other for a couple of years now. You've
we
spoken
have.
at the Global Sources Summit a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you previously had a different company, and then you switched and you created this new company, Sophie Society.
Yep.
So, tell us about your story, Chris. What's your background? What's your story?
So I started in the technical sphere first. I got a degree in physics and I was doing engineering. And then after a while, I realized that the people that control their own destiny know business. So I was like, well, guess I got to start all over after 2 decades of life and learn business. And after a couple initial failed business ventures, I dabbled and stumbled my way into e-commerce, and I started a brand in the spinal health space on Amazon. And I started a brand and grew it very quickly. I think it was half luck, half good product selection, and half my just obsessive nature. And we got to a 7-figure run rate within 18 months of starting, grew a team, expanded that company internationally. And then I kind of piggybacked off of that brand to start the company Judo that you were referencing to help other brands launch and scale internationally as well. And then after some unfriendly experiences with investors in that company, we had a huge falling out. And I had to basically start from scratch again. And that's when I started Sophie Society, again, to help brands succeed on Amazon, big and small brands. So we help them with their content production. That includes photo sets, video sets, EBC, and listing copy. And we help them with their Amazon advertising. And so those are our areas of expertise. And I'm going to share a little bit about some of that stuff here with you guys today, specifically about A+ and A+ content, or formerly known as enhanced brand content, EBC.
Right. What's the story behind the name Sophie Society?
That I'm glad that you asked that. Not that many people ask that, but we call it Sophie Society because I really wanted to, after this very violent, traumatic experience with my previous technology company, Judo, I wanted to infuse into the culture of Sophie this idea of learning from mistakes and encoding them into your algorithm for making better decisions in the future and not repeat the past over and over again like we do, like I have done many, many times. Just repeating the same mistakes, running like an automaton drone, following your own brain patterns of behavior without being conscious of them. I wanted to really encode into the DNA of the company, stopping that pattern. And so Sophie is the Greek root for wisdom gained from experience. And you actually see it in a lot of words like philosophy in English. But the root Sophie means wisdom. And so we called it Sophie Society to encode that idea of constantly improving by gaining the wisdom of your experience into what you do and encoding that into kind of leveling up like an RPG in life, getting better and better.
Wow, that's awesome. I like it. Okay, so we've got a few people watching here. Hi, Denise, Anna. Hi, Anna from Canada. Cool. Facebook user.
Oh, nice.
I don't know your name. Anna Maria.
Mysterious.
Okay, cool. So, Chris, why don't you get into your slides now? I'm going to share your slides. And all of you guys watching, Chris is going to share some slides. He's going to talk about best practices for EBC, enhanced brand content. And he's also going to be taking some questions at the end of the presentation. So if you do have any questions, post them in the comments, either on Facebook or on LinkedIn, and then we'll take the questions later. Okay, so I'm going to share your screen. Okay, there. Go Wonderful. For it, Chris. Your screen is up now.
All right, thanks. Okay, cool. So we'll jump into this because we're gonna get through basically an hour-long presentation in 20 minutes. That's the goal. So you guys are going to get some dense, super compressed information here. So make sure that you shut down anything else that's distracting you, because trust me, it's worth it. You're getting literally an hour's worth of content in just 20 minutes. So this is going to be really, really cool for you guys. I'm very excited to deliver dense value. So let's get into it. So A+ content used to be called enhanced brand content. Many people still call it that. It's the content in the middle of your listing that looks like a big infographic. This is a very important part of the listing, but very underutilized by most brands. Amazon provides you kind of a DIY builder, so you can build modules. Through these modules, you can build enhanced brand content yourself. In order to get it, you do need brand registry. So you have to, if you don't have brand registry, you need to focus your efforts on getting brand registry so that you can do this. But what I'm going to teach you during these 20 minutes is an actual formula that you can follow step by step. There's 6 elements to it, and you just add each of these elements of the formula. You will end up with amazing EBC that will increase the conversion of your listing 100%. I'm telling you that and we know, because this is literally what we do. We create content for brands. And like I said, Sophie, philosophy, wisdom gained from experience. We A/B tested all kinds of different configurations. So we came upon this formula from our own experience of seeing what EBC designs actually increase conversion. And this is basically for all the tinkering and optimization you try to do with Amazon ads. That's like literally you're just, every time you need to get more like performance out of your ads, it's like, pumping your legs on a bicycle. You have to put work into it to get it out. You have to put more money into your ads to get more return back. But increasing the conversion of your listing is like putting your bicycle on a downhill incline. It's not that you have to constantly pump. You just keep going. It just literally does the work for you from that point forward. So this is a really great way for you to increase sales permanently without having to do more work, without having to dump more money in. This literally it's like giving you unlimited, like extra spend on your ads every single month from now until forever, but for free. So it's really important and really critical that you listen to this, because even 2 or 3 absolute points on your conversion rate equates to 20 or 30 relative % increase in sales. If you go from 10% conversion to 12% conversion, well, that's actually 20% more sales that you just got with just 2 absolute points of conversion rate. So that's the reason why you should listen to this. Now let's get into the actual meat and potatoes of it. Okay, another thing real quick. Just follow the formula. You don't need to get crazy with it. Literally do exactly what I'm going to teach you and you'll get the results. It's just like music. Learn the rules first and you just play by the rules. Then once you're a master at that, then you can start messing with things and breaking rules and stuff. But keep it simple, stupid. Just follow the formula. We talked about who I am. The reason you're doing this is to increase customer trust, therefore increasing conversion rate, and also increase your SEO relevance as well, because the text does get indexed, but to a much lesser degree than the bullet points in the title do. So there's 3 things that your EBC needs to accomplish, 3 goals. Inform the customer, inspire the customer, and sell to the customer. These are the 3 things, and I'll show you which steps of this formula are doing each of these things. Inform just means educate them. Tell them more about the product. The buyer behavior that you're going to see on an Amazon listing, and I used to observe dozens and dozens of Amazon buyers creepily from behind them, just watching them scroll through Amazon just so I'd understand buyer behavior when I first started on Amazon myself. What an Amazon buyer does is they search for the keyword, they scroll through a couple of the first few listings, they click on one. When they get to the listing, they spend some time above the fold, meaning without scrolling. Above the fold, they'll spend some time quickly breezing through some of the images and scanning the bullet points, not reading them, scanning them. Then they scroll all the way to the bottom of the listing where the reviews are. They skip everything. Frequently bought together, enhanced brand content, description, customers who bought this also bought, comparison table, everything. They skip it all and go straight to the reviews. Then the third step is if they're happy with the reviews, then they scroll back up. And that's when they see the enhanced brand content. So they're not going chronologically through the listing from top to bottom. They go the top briefly, then scroll all the way down to the bottom, spend the most time there on the reviews. Then they scroll from the bottom up. They chew from the bottom your listing. So they actually hit your enhanced brand content and will spend more deep time on the enhanced brand content than they even will on the images or the bullet points in terms of consuming the content part, because they only scanned briefly the top, so validated their desire with the reviews. And if you lost them, if you got bad reviews there already, so you got to fix that problem first. But if you have okay reviews that keep them happy, now they're waiting to be sold. Now they say, okay, reviews are okay. Company looks pretty good. Let's see if I should buy this thing. And the next thing they see is your enhanced brand content, because they chew from the bottom up. So that's why this is so important.
So real quick, Chris, what if there are no reviews? What if it's a new listing with 0 reviews?
Then, so if it has 0 reviews, that's tough. 0 review listings get really low conversion rates. It's when your listing has 0 reviews, the number one priority that you should be focused on is getting the first 5 reviews. Once you get to 5, that's one critical point. The next critical point is 21 reviews. This is like studied and observed. That's the next trust point. So when you get your first 5, though, you will get sales. And it is still key, because they'll go down and see that there's no reviews. But if they were happy enough with the images, happy enough with the bullet points, they will still spend time on the enhanced brand content. And we did see it. We just did a launch of a binocular listing 2 weeks ago, and we had very low conversions, but we still had sales. Once we got our first couple of reviews in, conversions skyrocketed. But it's because we spent all this time on the content that we were still able to convert.
Yeah. Someone's asking, what if you don't have enhanced branding? Well, you need to get that then. You need to get brand registered.
Yeah. If you don't have brand registry, then what you need to do is get a trademark application in. As soon as you are able to prove to Amazon that you have a trademark, then you can get enhanced brand, you can get brand registry. And that unlocks a lot of stuff for you. That will also help you get enhanced support from Amazon and a whole bunch of other things as well.
Okay, cool.
So let's talk about the formula. So this is the formula. There's 6 parts of excellent EBC. The first one is the hero image. The second one is the story. The third one is the slideshow. The fourth one is the graphics. The fifth one is the banner. And the sixth one is the product carousel. And I'm going to rail through these. Megla is going to provide you guys with the deck afterwards, so don't worry about taking notes. Just try to absorb the content as much as you can. But remember, you'll be able to thumb through these slides later. But just to make sure that I stick to my promise of compressing, a ton of information for you guys in a short period of time, I'm going to run through these very quickly. So the first element of the 6-part formula is the hero image. The job of the hero image is just to grab their attention. The point is, when they're scrolling back up through the listing, you stop them with something very jarring and very intense. It's something that should grab them and stop them in their tracks and be like, whoa, what did I just see? That's the point of it. So it's good to have something really, really, really close up, a cute girl's face, a puppy playing with a toy, or far away, mountains, a beautiful scenic scene with your outdoor travel products, like sitting right in a field, striking imagery. And the only thing that this does is it stops them from scrolling so that you can sell them on these other elements, the story, the slideshow, and all the other parts. So here's an example of that. I wish I could zoom in on this for you guys, but I can't right now. But so this is way zoomed out, but this is the entire EBC. This is one EBC that we created for a toy company that sells slime. If you see the top image, when you see this on a listing, this takes up actually almost the whole computer screen. You can see that this is about the same ratio as a computer screen, top to bottom, left to right, and it takes up the whole width. So it takes up almost the whole height as well. So this is extremely striking imagery. It's this cute girl's face with her beautiful blue eyes staring at this slime that's like also held up right in front of your face. It's striking, and it stops them right in their tracks. I'm going to come back to this example later because it's also a good example of another part of the formula as well. Here's another one. You can see it takes up almost the whole screen. Again, cute kids That's cute kids, kitties. These are things that the internet loves. Okay. We all know that. Puppies, cute kids, kittens. It's striking. It stops them in their tracks and gets them to see what you have to share so you can share your message with them. All right. The second part is the story. This is the most important part when it comes to inspiring and developing trust and connection with the buyer or the shopper. It's what allows you to separate yourself from a factory selling direct from somewhere in Shenzhen that doesn't have a deep brand identity or a story or brand character. There's only two power price points in the market: lowest price or highest price. You're never gonna compete on lowest price if you're not a big factory owner in Shenzhen. It's not gonna happen. Everyone listening to this presentation has to compete using their identity, their brand identity, their ability to connect with the customer, because you're never going to win on price. It's not going to happen. There are too many other players out there that have economics of scale that will beat you down. And more than half of the sellers on the US Amazon.com market now are direct Chinese factories. So that tells you something. This seals the deal with the customer. If they've seen the images and they've read the bullet points and they've seen the customer reviews, which they have, because we know how buyer behavior works, they are already comfortable with the features of the product. Now they really want to be sold. They're asking you to sell them now. Now they want to buy the product. They understand that it will meet their needs, or the product, the keyword that they typed in. Now they're asking for you to sell them. So you have to tell them a story. And this sets you apart from the whole price war of Amazon of being the lowest price. It gives you a differentiating factor despite what the product design is that allows you to stand apart. And the idea is, you might say you don't have a story. Well, I'm telling you, you do. It could be the founding story of the company. It could be the story of how you figured out the design of the product. If it's not a totally unique product design, then it can be a story of how a customer used your product to solve a problem. And another important element here is include a face. Human faces inspire trust. That's also studied on websites. When visitors of websites were asked to rate the trustworthiness of the website, if they had human faces on it, the trustworthiness scores went way, way, way up. So a human face, very important. It could be your face, could be a customer's face, could be anybody's face, but it's a real person's face. But connect an identity with the story. People connect with people. They don't connect with logos. Okay, so here's an example of this. This was another EBC that we worked on. This was a company that sells Vietnamese coffee, and the founder, Debbie, she's a Vietnamese American. She went back and worked with farmers in Vietnam to develop this Vietnamese coffee in this cool new way to deliver it. And her story here, and you can see her face, is very, very striking and connects emotionally with the customer. The third part is the slideshow. Now, this is the purpose of this part, is to allow the customer to see a deeper view of the product. And it also has this strange psychological component to it, where it is the only part of the listing that's actually interactive. They have to take an action in the slideshow portion of the EBC in order to get the information they're looking for, and that's hover. They hover over these different squares, and it gives them different images and different text. Now, there's a cool psychological trick at play here, because even though it seems small, the fact that they have to do work, they have to hover over these different images, it's actually a tiny micro commitment that they've made. They've decided they like the product enough that they're actually going to hover over these different images to see the story. So now you have a two-way relationship going. It's not just one way. They're not just consuming the content you're giving them. They're consuming the content, then they're asking for more by hovering over the next thing. Then you're giving them more content. Then they're asking for more by hovering. And it's actually a two-way relationship now. So there's a psychological component of this at play that's kind of unseen, that's very subconscious, but that's actually very, very important and helps with conversion. So the way to use this section is you either are telling a story or you're highlighting uh, unique use cases or unique features of the product. This isn't really the place to highlight benefits. It's more about features and use cases because you can see right here, it's telling you that it's 4 inches, but it's also telling you this little story. Hi, I'm Lambie. I'm the cuddliest of all the dreamimals. It's introducing you to a character. So it's sort of playing on an X factor of this type of product, this particular type of product, that it has characters and that they're different and that they have identities. This is something that you don't see in the bullet points and in the title and in the images. It's only when they look deeper and they commit to this hover over interactive kind of slideshow area of the EBC that they find that out. And now they're kind of deep inside your product. They've seen the story of how the brand works. They've gotten to get this kind of X factor of like much deeper detail about the product. You've got them engaged. You've got them like really interacting with the brand in a way that you can't do in the images and in the bullet points or even through the reviews. Here's another example of that. So this has a close-up of the treats themselves as a dog treat product. It shows the product like splayed out on this beautiful wood. It's a unique experience in that it pairs text with images, which is really a unique way to experience your product. The next section is graphics. So the way that we do this is, again, we're kind of using a psychological hack. So we design the graphics typically with icons. Icons are awesome because they display information in a very simplistic way that cuts out all the noise. And I can't remember if I have an example here or not. Yeah, here's one. So it looks like this. Now you can see, look, let's just take the example of the third one over for large and small dogs. Imagine that wasn't an icon and it was a picture and it was a tiny, what is that, wiener dog or whatever, and a big lab. I'm really bad with dog types, but two big and small dogs, and they're in a field or they're next to some trees, and they're different colors and stuff like that. You wouldn't know just by looking at that picture that meant that this treat is for large and small dogs. But when you simplify it, and there's no background, there's no color of the dog, there's no type of the dog, it's just a big dog and a small dog. It's very clear just by quickly looking at it that the idea we're trying to describe here is that this treat is applicable for large dogs and small dogs. So it's a really big difference here. You're cutting out unnecessary information by turning it from a picture to an icon. So you think of 4 things that are really important for you to communicate about the product, and you design an icon around it. And now, a lot of times people say at this point, well, I'm not a designer. I don't know how to design an icon. One, there are a lot of resources for you to find icons, and even weird, obscure ones, just by Googling them. You can use resources like FreePik, FREEPIK.com, has tons of icons. Or you can just Google it. Other thing is, if you need a custom icon, graphic design resources are some of the cheapest resources in the world. There are graphic designers working remotely from all over the planet, in Eastern Europe, in the Philippines, Pakistan, all over places where they need to work online, and it's not that expensive to get good graphic design resources. So just use Fiverr, use Upwork, and post your job, and you can get an icon designed. But this comes down to creativity. This is, again, where you set yourself apart from the factory selling direct to, they're competing on price. You're competing on creativity. So use your creativity, get icons designed that visually communicate ideas instead of through text. Because like we talked about in the beginning of this presentation, customers don't read, they scan. So they're just getting a general idea by quickly browsing through your listing. You care about your listing, the customer doesn't. You want to communicate ideas as quickly and as simply as possible. And this is an excellent way to do it. Next is the banner. Now, this is a great way to fill out the listing. The purpose of this is just to balance out the image versus text ratio. So in EBC, if you were to balance the importance of images versus text in the EBC, or visuals versus text, it's like 5-1. The visuals are much, 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 much more important than the text. And the text is only there to support the visuals. That's really what it's all about. The story part has to have a significant block of text. That's really it. In the rest of the EBC, text supports visuals, not the other way around. So you want it to be visual heavy. The hero image, all visuals. Slideshows, mostly visuals with some supporting text. Graphics, mostly visuals supporting text. The banner is just all visuals. And that's the point of this, is to balance out the visuals. So this can be used. There's a lot of different ways to use this. A big close-up shot is great with like a text overlay that shows the idea that you're trying to describe. Again, here's a striking image from the pet treat product. It has just a little bit of text supporting the visual. And here's another one, big visual, small amount of text supporting the visual. This banner is supposed to just add more visual components to the EBC. Here's another example. Okay, now we're at the very last part of the formula, and this is the product carousel. I think I'm pretty much on time, maybe running slightly over, but I'm pretty much delivering on my promise, I think. So the product carousel, this is the third part of the third purpose of EBC that we described: inform, inspire, and sell. So this is the third part, the sell. This is where you get to sell other products in your line. So many EBCs are missing this part, which always blows my mind, because this is an excellent opportunity to get more real estate back from your listing. If you think about it and you actually look at the trend on Amazon over the past couple of years, Amazon has been taking the real estate from your listing more and more and more over the past couple of years, just through these different sections: sponsored products related to this product, compared to similar products, frequently bought together, customers who bought this always also bought. It seems like every year they're taking more real estate on the listing to try to get people off your listing and onto someone else's listing, right? Well, here's an opportunity for you to get more real estate back, to reclaim some of that real estate. And the way to do it is you're actually linking to other products in your line. And they don't have to be like vitamin C, then vitamin D, then vitamin A. They can be very different products. It's fine. You can do that. You can see here that these products, yes, they're all related to skincare, but they're all very different. We have a face serum, we have a facial roller, we have an eye mask, we have a collagen powder. They're all very different, and that's okay. As long as you can finagle a way to make it a comparison table, these are clickable. These are like mini listings. You see, we're treating this as a mini listing. It has a title, has a main image, has a little description. We're literally squeezing here 6 new little listings into our listing, and that's reclaiming inventory, real estate from our listing that Amazon's trying to, convince people to click away to another brand onto, back into our own hands, so Amazon can click onto another one of our products. Here's another example of this. We got the Ultimate Slime Kit, the Unicorn Slime Kit, and the Rainbow Slime Kit. And this is a great, when you do have products that are like in the same line like this, it allows you to really use the comparison table. So you can kind of hack the comparison table. You can see where it says safe and non-toxic, check, check, check. Well, they're all safe and non-toxic, but we're still using a comparison table just to drive home the point that they're all safe and non-toxic. It's not like one of them is unchecked. That's the toxic one. You can use a comparison table even if everything's the same, just as bragging rights. Very cool way. Again, we did it here with that Dreamless example we were talking about. Now we use a comparison table to show the unique personality of each of the characters. Lambie is calming your fears. Pinky is helping you have silly dreams. And Sharky is personal power and confidence. And again, we use this checkbox. Handled gift box included. Check, check, check. 60 dream wishes. Check, check, check. You can make this comparison table super long and just keep adding checks. So that's it, guys. A couple of tips just to wrap up. If you're worried that you don't, because I said it's image heavy, if you're worried you don't have enough images or you don't have enough product photography to support image heavy EBC, well, you actually do. It really comes down to creativity. I want to really quick go back to this image I said I was going to go back to. We just made this up. We took photos of the ingredients in this slime kit, and we made up this whole graphic that shows a box and everything that's included and these little numbers and these icons above it. We made this up. We just thought of the idea. We used a photo we already had, and we designed this whole graphic around this photo that was already existed. So you just have to think it up. And the way to do this, the creative process for this, is you make ugly sketches on a pad but they're good ideas, but ugly, or maybe they're even bad ideas. You just make a couple. Sometimes you got to get through some bad ideas to get to the good ideas, but you can make them ugly, but you have your designer make them beautiful. And again, Upwork, Fiverr, you can get great designers, but your sketch can be ugly, totally ugly. That's my favorite thing, is to make super ugly sketches and make my designer make them gorgeous. And so it all comes down to your creativity. Another tip is use stock imagery. Again, freepik.com. I love freepik.com. You can go to freepik.com, use stock imagery, and stock imagery is not as cheesy as it sounds. You can get stock imagery that really supports your brand, and it fits right into your real product photography in a very elegant way, in that, you wouldn't even know it was stock imagery. Like, I actually don't know in this case if this is stock imagery, but it very well could be. That roller could be photoshopped right into a stock image of a girl just holding her hand up in front of her face. And again, Photoshop artists are unbelievable these days. You can do a lot with Photoshop, and you don't even need to do a lot with Photoshop. You can add stock photography without Photoshop that just visually gives the customer the feeling that you're trying to make them feel. And that's it, guys. So here's what freepik.com looks like. You just search in there anything. You could search like big open field or dad holding kid or big dog little dog icon or whatever, and you'll get vectors and images and stuff from that. It's a great place. And if you guys have any questions, you can always email me. That's hello, but my actual email address is chris@sophiesociety.com. And I think Megla is going to be giving out the slides. So I think
we'll do that. Awesome. That was great information, Chris. I was, people are commenting here. Great info. Somebody's actually saying, let me just remove your slides now. So we will share the slides later with everyone. So somebody's just saying, please provide your contact and pricing to set it up. So they're like, okay, just do it for me. we'll
Nice.
share. You can reach out to Chris at the email address that he just gave over here. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to type them in the comments and I'll read them out for Chris. So Chris, I was wondering, are videos allowed on EBC?
Right now they're not, but I've heard rumblings that they will be soon. At
that
a
would be
certain
pretty
point,
cool.
I think so too. Yeah, I think that's going to be a big game changer. And they have been beta testing some weird things that I've seen on bigger brands, A+ content, which has been really interesting. Some more interactive stuff, more than just the table switcher. So I think there's going to be a lot more updates coming up soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So all of these things, Chris, that you mentioned, I mean, the formula and all, you've actually tested these things on other people's or on various listings, right? So
yeah, and we're very mathematical about it too. We track conversion rate before and conversion rate after. So these numbers that I'm giving, they're realistic. You're not going to go from 20% conversion to 35% conversion by adding EBC, but you can go from 20% conversion to 23% conversion, which again, that sounds like only 3 absolute points of conversion, but in reality, That's actually what is that? That would be 2 points would be 10%. So it's 15% increase in sales. That's actually for every 1,000 visits that you get, you're getting 15% more sales from the same amount of traffic. And you can get that more traffic from doing PPC, but it's like then you have to constantly feed the beast. This is one thing you do once, and permanently you get more sales forever. So it pays itself off.
Right. Do you find that it works better for certain product categories than others? Like maybe, I don't know,
Yeah.
gift products or, homeware. Does it work
Yeah.
better for these kinds of products than, I don't know, like some hardware or DIY kind of
Yeah.
products?
Yeah, you actually kind of nailed it in just the examples that you just gave.
Yeah.
It does work better with products that are passion products or
Mm-hmm.
pain products.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if it's something that's just kind of a basic regular necessity that's not like a heavy passion and it's not a very intense pain, but it's just something that it's kind of a second thought that people just need for this or that, like an accessory to, maybe like a baseboard for, the corner of their house or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's harder to make it work because you really have to work a lot harder to kind of differentiate yourself and tell a story there. But I have challenged companies to do this. And, when you really like rack your brain, you can think creatively and come up with creative solutions like that to almost anything. Like we have a customer that sells like toilet bowl cleaners and like drain sticks that you stick down the drain to get hair out of it and gross stuff like that.
Ew.
And yeah, exactly. And it's like visually, it's like that's not even something you want to look at. So what do you do with the visuals with that? But we were actually able to help co-create with them, visual content and a story that worked really well, and it actually did help increase their conversions, especially in the European markets in their case.
Right. So Margaret is saying, thanks, Chris, for sharing this great info on one of my favorite Amazon topics.
Nice, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, Raj is saying very informative webinar. So guys, if you have any questions, now's the time. Post them in the comments. I don't see any questions here. If you have any questions for Chris, post them now. So Sophie Society, you're basically, doing account management and helping people with their listings. Or tell us more about Sophie Society and the various services that you offer.
Yeah, the two basic things we do is one will like kind of partner up with the brand to long term either manage their Amazon presence and their Amazon growth strategy and implementation, or manage even just a portion of that, like just their Amazon advertising. Or the other side of the business is we create content. We create content for brands, so we're a content shop. So they can come in and we can create EBC for them using our formula, or create a product photo set and image graphics, because you don't want just photos. You also need graphics that show benefits, features, use cases, etc. In your photo set as well. There's a whole science to that as well. That's separate from EBC. And then we also do content for listings, and we have again our own formula that we've produced to do keyword research that provides the greatest indexing for a listing, that helps it get indexed for like mid and long tail keywords as well as the main keywords, and just provides compelling content to help it convert as well. So we'll do one-off content like EBC, listing copy, or photos or videos, but then the deep relationships we have are with brands that we like partner with long term.
Okay, so here's one question from Asli. How do you feel about creating an umbrella brand to cover all new brands at the beginning and switching to a real final brand later?
So if you're creating an umbrella company to encompass all of your brands, that's a good idea. But if you're creating a brand that encompasses all different products in all different categories, that usually will cause you more headache down the line. it sounds like you have the idea for multiple brands and you want to launch with one product in each of those brands first. Then once you have multiple products in each of the brands, then kind of split them out into their different accounts. That's what I'm getting from this question. I could be interpreting it wrong, but that's what it sounds like. That I would, it's going to be harder to pull off because there's a network effect that takes place when you have products that are complementary in some way. Like even the example that I showed that had products that weren't like the same in the same line, like they weren't vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin A. They were still connected because one was a skin derma roller, the next was the skin cream, and the next thing was collagen peptides that you add to your drink to help your skin renew itself. So even though they were all, very different, they are very complementary. And the reason that helps is because you're selling to the same customer demographic. So you get this network effect where every email you send can cross promote another product. Your EBC can cross promote each other's products. They see on your storefront products that, speak to the same customer demographic. When you're launching different products and different brands speaking to totally different customer demographics, you don't get that network effect. So success from one product doesn't help other products and it doesn't bring up the whole ship. It's not like rising tides, raises all ships. So it's a lot more work.
Okay, here's a long question. I'm going to let you read it.
Sure. So Denise wants to do a generic A+ page, not specific to a product, just generic for her brand to begin with. That's okay. How do you suggest approaching this? What sections would I include? How would I modify them? Later, I'll create a listing page specific A+ content, but just want to start with a generic one. That's fine. Yeah, you can definitely do that, Denise. And that's a good idea because you want to move fast and get the EBC up on all your listings as quickly as you can. And then you can go into customization. And the cool thing is a lot of the elements of EBC, you do have the ability to kind of copy across listings, like the story. If it's a brand story and it's not a product specific story, that can be the same across all listings. The hero image, instead of making it related to the product, like we did with the slime example that I showed, you can make it related to the brand's identity and brand's character. So if it's a travel brand, for instance, you can show the mountains and a tent set up in a field. If it's a pet brand, for instance, you can show a zoom up of like a dog's face. So you can utilize a good portion of these sections to be brand specific, not product specific. Now it's going to be, if you don't want any product specific stuff, that will handicap the effectiveness of the EBC, but it's still way better than not having EBC at all. So if that's all you can shoulder right now, then you still have the ability. The comparison table too. The comparison table is going to be pretty much the same for the products because you're just showing all products in the comparison table. So it's going to show all products on one listing and all products on the other listing.
Right. We have Peter Luxembourg watching on LinkedIn, and he's asking, if you create EBC, should you still keep the original product description or remove it? If so, why or why not? What are the benefits?
You want to remove it because you don't want too much noise. You want the signal to noise ratio to be low or high, I mean. So what we want is for people to focus on the EBC because it communicates more effectively the ideas we're trying to communicate. So we don't even want to distract them with a big ugly block of text. Find a way to more elegantly communicate what you would communicate in the description using the EBC, and as much as you can using visuals in the EBC.
Okay, so Raj has a question. How often does A+ content need to be revised?
That's actually a good question. We usually take another look at it every half a year or so, but a lot of times don't even revise it that much. When you're doing your keyword reoptimization or listing reoptimization to adapt to the market, it's a good time to take another look at the EBC. But a lot of it's going to stay the same, and it could stay the same for a year, 2 years. So yeah, it's a semi-permanent, at least, fix for the listing because most of it's going to apply for the long term. You may revise the product carousel if you want to start cross-promoting other products or you really want to help boost the sales of certain products. but the hero image, the brand story, that's all going to stay relatively the same.
How do you do your testing for various elements on EBC? Like how long do you keep a certain design, and then do you change certain elements, one by one? Do you change the images? Because of course, when you're testing, you can't change too many elements. So what is your process for testing? Can you briefly touch upon that?
Sure. Yeah. So we won't change element by element because it's not enough of a change to get statistically significant data. But what we do is I just said do. We'll test. Well, I'm a 14-year-old kid in my heart. We'll test the EBC upgrade first before upgrading the rest of the listing. So that's what we test. Like we'll, instead of uploading the new photo set, the new listing copy, the new bullet points, the new title, and the new EBC all at once, we'll try the EBC first to see what effect that has, and then we'll change the other elements of it. And we do so many of these projects across so many of these brands. We have plenty of examples in all different categories of times where we just change the title or we just change the EBC. And across the ones that we just changed the EBC, we also have to, we can also see the difference in the effectiveness of how we approach the EBC design. So we had a couple hypotheses. It's not like we went through module by module and said, well, if we change this image in this module, how will that affect the conversion rate of the whole listing? Because it won't be enough of a difference to be statistically significant. But we do have a hypothesis to say, well, this design of EBC we think will work, but we also think this one will work, and we also think this type of design will work, and this type of design will work. And after testing all different types of EBC, the one that we've come up with is this 6-part formula that has had the most dramatic impact on conversion and sales.
Cool. So here's one question.
Can it ever be too early to go ahead with EBC? I only have one product, but as I research for additional products, I'm becoming clear of the type of brand I'd like, and my current product doesn't really align with the direction I'd like to go. Should I wait on EBC? Well, if you're not going to invest in that product's success and you're going to wind it down, I wouldn't bother with EBC, because you're probably going to be better putting that time and that energy better to use on the products that you will invest in the success of. So yeah, I would just not do EBC at all, because your time could definitely be better spent on the products that do align with your brand and that you do intend on investing on.
Right.
Denise, can you suggest how to find a good graphic design Photoshop person? Yeah, beyond just looking on Fiverr and Upwork. Okay, I want them to take the graphic design and apply it to a product. For example, apply my graphic design and make it look like a photographed product. Take a garden flag and as an example. Yeah, for sure. So I can tell you the way that I found my designer, who I have a deep love and respect for, and oversees all of the design for Sophie, meaning hundreds of brands he oversees the design for. I found him on 99 Designs. This is a great platform that I've had success with, not just with my designer Joseph, but with a number of designers in across a couple of different companies that I've run. And the way this platform works, it's 99designs.com. You run a contest. So you have a job and you say, I need a graphic designer, I need a logo designer, I need an infographic designed. In this case, you could post the job of having your EBC designed. You'd have to lay it out for them to say, module 1, it should be this, module 2, it should be this, module 3, it should be that. But people bid with their designs. So designers from around the world come in and they submit designs and they use that as their bid. So you actually see the designs come in before you pay. Well, you have to pay into a purse so that they're guaranteed to get paid. So it's kind of a risk, and it feels very kind of exciting and scary, because you pay into this pot that will be released to the top designer that you choose. And for the first 3 days, you're only going to get crappy designs. And that's just how the platform works. But then as it gets closer to the deadline, the good designers jump in because they know their last minute designs will get seen and get picked. And there are some excellent designers on this platform. Like I said, I've been with mine for 5 years now. But I'll also say you can find great designers on Upwork as well. Fiverr, I can't personally vouch for, but Upwork, I've also recruited designers to support my main full-time designer, Joseph, on Upwork. And so you can find quality designers on Upwork, and it's a good place to go because there are designers from all around the world there.
What about FreeUp?
FreeUp's a good place as well. I haven't personally hired a designer from FreeUp, but I have gotten really good Amazon talent on FreeUp. One of our full-time team members I originally connected with on FreeUp. So, and I think Nathan did a great job building that platform up and making it it's actually also a very white glove experience. They'll provide you with a person to help you find like the exact right person you're looking for. So it doesn't have the selection that Upwork does. Upwork has, I think, many orders of magnitude more in terms of number of contractors, more contractors on it. But FreeUp is a more like boutique, like handheld experience.
Okay, awesome. But Chris, this has been absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for sharing all of this great information. We've got so many comments over here. Thank you. This is really great and very informative. Thank you. So,
cool. Glad you guys liked it.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. So we'll definitely share the slides with everyone. And
Cool.
yeah, so check out Chris's website, sophiesociety.com, if you want Chris to help you with your enhanced brand content or any other aspects of your Amazon listing and your business. Chris will be able to do that. So thank you very much, Chris. And I hope all of this, the virus situation and all eases really quickly so that we can get you back to Hong Kong for Global Sources Summit.
I know. I miss my Megla hugs. You always gave the best hugs. I need my Megla hug.
Oh, cool. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Chris. You have a good night. Thanks everyone,
Megla.
for
Thanks,
watching.
everybody.
See you around. Bye.